Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed in this video are those of my own and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any other person or group of people. They do not purport to reflect the opinions or views of any group of people, person, or fanbase or its members. This video and the presentation of material therein do not imply the expression of any opinion other than mine.
Hello and welcome to this video. Today we are going to be looking at the Rabbits Season 1, Episode 6, Strange Attractors. The overall length of this is 44 minutes, which means I'll probably break it down into about 3 parts to really get into it. I hope you're enjoying it so far. I like to give a shout out to everyone that watches these videos, everyone who leaves comments, everyone that's subscribed. It means a lot to me and gives me the energy and the drive to continue these videos. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Assuming I can get my mouse to work.
Rabbits. I'm Carly Parker. Stay with us.
I still really enjoy the music for this. Haven't got around to it yet, but I do at some point plan on going to the Rabbits webpage and clicking on the thing for soundtrack. I believe it's a direct link. It may be under the merchandise or products link, but no, I just like the music for this.
The door is open. How could the name of my independent comic, Priesthood 1, created when I was a senior in high school, be an anagram for the door is open? I mean, I understand it is an anagram for the door is open. What I don't understand is how, I guess. It just feels like one hell of a coincidence.
I, for one, do believe in coincidences. However, I don't think they're as common as people tend to believe they are. I think a lot of what we write down or accept as coincidences are things that we made and didn't really perceive them on a conscious level. So, that's my 2 cents.
But, I have to say, being inside this coincidence, living it, it doesn't feel coincidental. Maybe that's how this stuff works. Enough people experience and report these kinds of strange occurrences, these extremely weird and hard to believe coincidences. And that's how we end up with ESP, alpha thinking, reports of people receiving secret messages from aliens, and the rest of it.
See, I have a personal theory on that, in that my eyelashes, my browser doing weird things today. My personal theory is that some people at some level, subconscious or maybe at one of the lower levels of consciousness, will perceive things and through life experience have a real good handle on what's going to happen next. So it appears to be a ESP or being able to see the future. It's just that these people are extremely perceptive. You see it a lot in science fiction. Star Trek, Star Wars, and things like that, where an author or a writer, a producer will create things or do things or say things because at some level their perception is finely tuned to a particular area or subject, and it coalesces in this seeming to be able to tell the future or read the future, or ESP, as if you want to call it. So yeah.
But I have to say, these things don't feel like cosmic mistakes. Not when you're stuck in the middle of them. They feel almost inevitable.
Thus going back to people being more finely tuned in the way they perceive things, the way they perceive the world, the way their brain is put together.
Priesthood 1 was about art toppling dictatorship. It was about a rebellion, a creative revolution. There's no connection to some weird game on opening phrase of an ancient arcane alternate reality game.
Or is there?
That's impossible. It was a coincidence. Nothing more. Wasn't it?
It could be a coincidence, sure.
But you don't believe it is?
No, I don't.
This bit with Jones that we're going to go into with the logic board from episode 5, I think everything that Carly tells him, he already either has an idea, a premonition, or just flat out knows what's supposed to be on that logic board, and is letting her realize it for herself, so jointly they can explore how and where it came from.
Why not?
That's hard to explain.
How about maybe give it a shot?
Things like your Priesthood 1 comic or that story referencing Arcadia showing up now, right when they're most relevant. It's almost like you need to be open to seeing the connections. It's kind of like a faith kind of thing, I suppose.
Like a religion thing?
Not exactly. More like strange attractors.
Okay. Jones?
You remember the magician talking about chaos theory and strange attractors?
Yeah, fractals.
Exactly. Strange attractors represent extremely complicated dynamical systems. If you're aware of the properties of the attractor, you can predictably plot the results.
And this, once again, leaning back into the heightened perception that some people have. Some people, like a retired police officer, retired military person, a retired corrections officer, or somebody that does puzzles, somebody that just really enjoys doing puzzles. And I don't mean like the little 1 or 2D puzzles or 3D puzzles you buy. I mean mental puzzles. You know, people that blow through Sudoku like it's nothing. that this is what I equate this to. Like I said, this is my opinion from things I've seen, things I've done, and how the world is put together. So yes, and because there's not even my theory or explanation or my hypothesis, I should say, it's not really a theory, it's more of a hypothesis, is crudely explained. I mean, even me explaining it is very crude. So I think somebody who studies this, like chaos theory or probability, I think probability, it would fall in somewhere in a probability engine or equation somewhere.
But what happens if you believe you're looking at a complicated strange attractor system, but you're unaware of the fractal result because it's too complex or unknown?
You're using chaos theory to examine or explain rabbits?
Not me, but that's one popular avenue of exploration.
See, once again, this is leading me to believe that Jones is feeding her breadcrumbs to get her up to speed, to catch her up what's going on.
Have there been any concrete results?
Nothing 100% concrete yet, but there are those who believe it's just a matter of time before they figure out exactly what's happening. It's very interesting.
Right. Well, I'm interested in finding Yumiko. That's it.
Well, right.
So can we focus on my missing friend for a little while?
Of course.
Thanks. There's an Easter egg protocol you can run with the controls of the Williams video game Stargate.
That was the ROM you found in Yumiko's gym locker?
Yeah. But this version was called Defender 2, but it's essentially Stargate.
Oh.
And just pay attention to the tone of voice and how Jones responds when she answers his questions.
Okay, and did you run this Easter egg protocol?
I did, at the Magician's Arcade.
And
I found something.
What?
Well, the Stargate Easter egg normally reveals the game's credits. I've done it over a dozen times. My brother showed me when I was just a kid on a machine in a 7-Eleven while we were camping on holiday in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. But this machine was different. There were no credits. But there was an image.
What kind of image?
An image created with pixels.
What was it?
It was Yumiko's face.
Really?
Yeah, really.
I think he's just a little too calm or a little too nonchalant in the tone of his voice. He knows it's there and wants to look at it, wants to study it, but doesn't have access, and Carly's the one with the access right now.
Are you sure it wasn't somebody else's?
Pretty sure. It was her.
Okay, was there any other text or anything?
No, just her face.
What about the rest of that ROM? Was there anything different?
Aside from the circle of high scores, there wasn't anything else that I could see. Although, well, there is something.
What?
There were never any Defender 2 arcade cabinets.
What do you mean?
I mean, the title Defender 2 was strictly used for the at-home versions of the game. All of the arcade cabinets were either called Stargate or Defender Stargate.
That's odd.
Yeah. I haven't been able to find anyone who's ever seen a Defender 2 logic board.
In the list of high scores, it was a circle?
Yes.
All of them?
The first 6 names in the Immortals section. The rest were blank.
Do you think Yumiko had it modified? Turned a Stargate ROM into Defender 2 and had them add a digital portrait of her?
A digital portrait discoverable only by a series of secret controller moves from the early 80s?
Yumiko was into video games, wasn't she?
This is where we get into something that I find real relatable, simply because as far as gamers go, I personally would be considered a tourist because I play at video games. I don't actually play video games. Whereas my wife is a gamer, really good gamer, and from my perception. Friend of mine who lives up in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, same way. Really good, really talented. And if you got a good high graphics game, it's really cool to look at them playing as like a TV show or animated feature or something. And they're basically writing the script as they play. So, you know, this next little diatribe, I have it's real relatable to me, that is.
Well, as a cultural phenomenon, she was kind of obsessed, but she was what we called a tourist when it came to playing.
What do you mean?
Well, she was into gaming when we were kids, but she wasn't much of a player as an adult. Like, in high school, she'd get high and play World of Warcraft for a weekend, SimCity or GTA. And she definitely had a soft spot for the classics like Super Mario Bros. And Donkey Kong. She wrote a story called King Kong vs. Super Mario that was published in Wired. But she didn't have the requisite amount of obsession.
And that's me. As much as I enjoy video games, I don't have this obsession to go play video games.
If you know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
A player. I mean, a true player like my brother. There's an obsession there. Something questing, seeking, something behind the eyes. It's always there. Like a question waiting to be answered.
And that, when my wife is really hyped about a game or hyped about like the GTA roleplay she does online, when she's really hyped for something, that she has that same aura and same sparkle in her eyes and same, thing. And that's one of the things that I really enjoy about this podcast is the relatability to it. Gotta slow down so I don't stutter. The brain goes so fast sometimes it just gets mushy, so gotta slow it down slow to get this out.
A question like, what happened to Yumiko?
Yeah. Oh, speaking of which, she couldn't have tampered with that Stargate logic board.
Why not?
Because it was dropped off at the gym after her disappearance.
There was no sign of her there after she went missing?
Oh, the guy at the gym told me nobody had seen her.
Did you believe him?
I did. I do. Yeah.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Could you email me a screen grab of all that Stargate ROM stuff?
Sure, will do.
Thanks.
Yeah.
And you see, we hear, this is where Jones, I don't think it's any kind of deception on his part. I simply think he's being cautious and not calculating, kind of just cautious and watching to make sure things aren't going to go sideways.
Oh, hey, Jones.
Yeah,
Thanks for your help.
don't mention it.
Finding Yumiko's image in that Stargate ROM was surprising. Shocking, actually. But I didn't understand exactly how strange it was until I started looking into the logistics of creating that image. But first, I went back to the gym.
Which is a pretty good pretty good bit of detective work, going back and re-asking questions and seeing if there's any wavering or minor, major changes in the story. It's a pretty good bit of detective work.
I wanted to double-check a couple of things. Hi.
Well, hello again.
Thanks so much for taking the time to speak with me.
Yumiko is one of my favorites. There aren't a lot of young women who prefer the mats and the bags to spinning the Zumba.
She's cool.
Yeah. What can I do for you?
Well, I just wanted to double-check if there was any chance the logic board that was in Yumiko's things was actually delivered before her disappearance.
What's a logic board?
Oh, sorry, this.
I remember the kid that dropped this off.
You know him?
Comes around here a lot. He's got a lot of shit on his face, piercings, and his...
Right. And you remember him dropping this off?
Yeah. Yeah, it was in the accordion file with a post-it note with Yumiko's name on it.
And this was delivered after she disappeared?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Positive. It was garbage day. I was taking it out when the kid rode up and handed it to me.
The logic board.
Right, yeah.
Well, is there any chance that Yumiko came back after that?
No chance.
How do you know for sure?
Security cameras.
And what about them?
The cops watched them all. Said she never came in.
Did the cops check the rest of her stuff, like the logic board?
Sure.
And what did they say?
They didn't seem to think it was anything important.
Right. Well, thanks again for your help.
Here, you can have that back.
Thanks.
I think this would be a good place to call this video good. Let that information bounce around the old head for a while. This next video, I think, is going to give a little bit more detail on things. So, everyone out there, have fun, stay safe, be good, peace.
Hey, it's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?